We turn our attention to second quarter earnings of select healthcare companies. We're doing a comparative analysis of their earnings and some other things. So we start from the turnover, and then we have about 5 companies here: May and Baker, GlaxoSmithKline, Fitsin Healthcare, Nimet International Pharmaceuticals, and Farm Deco. All right, and we'll look at the second quarter 2022 earnings and the 2021 earnings, and then we see the percentage change. For May and Baker, 2022, 6.77 billion naira. In 2021, 5.24 billion naira. And the percentage change there is 22.60. And our GlaxoSmithKline, they had 14.81 billion naira in 2022 Q2, and in 2021, 9.86 billion naira. That is 50.18% change. Let's go to Fitsin Healthcare. In 2022, 20.38 billion naira, 2021, 12.90 billion naira. And the percentage change, 58.04. Nimet International Pharmaceuticals, 985.25 million naira second quarter 2022, and then 1.28 billion naira second quarter 2021. Now that's less, right? So we have minus 23.12. For Farm Deco, they had 252.81 million naira. That's Q2 2022. And then Q2 2021, 311.73 million naira. That's minus 18.90. And that's what we have for their earnings. So let's start with you, Ambrose.
Yeah, for the sector, I would say that the post-COVID-19 era has really made that sector become more, is it popular or more admired for investors now? Before now, because of the backdoor protection of drugs, most of the manufacturing companies in Nigeria are like they are struggling. But through the intervention from CBN during the COVID-19, attention shifted to that sector, public sentiment now. And the good thing is that the company's performance has also improved tremendously in the last 3 years for people to sustain that positive sentiment for that industry. Seeing the Q2 or half-year result for this sector, for me, is a good number. You can see the life of Fitsin almost 58.something% growth, for the top line. That means this company has really surpassed what the inflation is we're seeing today in terms of performance. And at the same time, with this, you can show that good dividend will come at the end of the day. If this top line is also sustained, their bottom line. You can see the life of May and Baker. GSK that just come from nowhere now. You can see the performance. Look at their performance last year. What we're seeing this year is better. That means improvement in that sector. And also don't forget that the government has not really relaxed in terms of going to that sector. About 2 days ago or 3 days ago, we are seeing another council was set up to roll out the malaria or to wipe malaria from Nigeria. Also, about 2 weeks ago, we saw also the medical personnel also in presidency, and that must approved for them to also keep. For me, this is what going to drive the sector, and also they also going to enjoy from the adjustment in critical sector intervention that CBN just announced 2 days ago. That is that we expect more numbers, positive going into the future for this sector. For me, investors are thinking long to start looking the world as to see more numbers so that we're able to put them together and conclude which sector, which of the company in that sector should be, because there's always a leader in the sector and also there's a lagger. Those leaders, are they sustaining that momentum to remain in that top as a leader? Which one are following them and which one are the laggers? You as an investor, after the analysis program, you should know where you should put your money.
All right, Mr. Haruna, if you can hear me, I'm concerned about Nimet and I'm also concerned about Farm Deco. Talk to us about those two companies.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, what has actually tripped me as far as analysis of result of a sign, there is a margin that has to do with that figures don't have emotion. When you look at it with a minus 23% change in turnover for Nimet, and they are going for right, which means that the moment that is added to them, I believe if they don't use their money well, we may see a worse result than this. And Farmer Deco too. It just shows that something they are not doing well, because turnover is a share of your market, which means they are losing their share of the market seriously, no matter.
All right, well, we lost that. That's there. And he's talking about the fact that they're probably losing a share of the market. And if they get this rights issue, what happens if it is not properly managed?
Investors' money.
Yes, what happens to investors' money? You want to take it up from there?
Well, yes, I will agree that, yes, Nimet has been one of the leaders in that sector. But over time, you will see that they were having a lot of issues, Yes, I expected them to have done better compared to what I am seeing. But again, we must also look at some of the problems we have in the country in terms of production.
But they're not the only ones.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes, I'm coming to that. You know, yes, all the companies will not be able to manage it the same way. Because if you look at this sector we are looking at, I will tell you they have done tremendously very well. Looking at the FX issue, cost of finance, production, diesel, and all that. Yes, not all the companies in that sector will do it the same way. So I believe, and that is even the more reason probably why they needed more money now to expand their operation, see how they can recapture the lost market share. Because Nimet used to be the leader in this sector. When we started this market, Nimet was the leader. Yes, over time, issues here and there have come. So I believe that with regulatory control in terms of this money they are raising, they have told us what exactly they want to use the money for. Then if that is monitored, of course, we know in the capital market, monies that are raised from the public are set aside for particular projects. And if it is done, of course, regulators follow through. I believe that they might come out of these issues they are having.
All right, thank you so much. If you can hear me, Aaron, I'd like you to continue on that thought. Okay, let's move on to the profit after tax now. For profit after tax, we're looking at Q2 2022 and Q2 2021. Okay, we start with May and Baker. Okay. They had 402.34 million naira. That was in 2022. And then in 2021, 555.27 million naira. What we have is minus 27.54%. For GlaxoSmithKline, they had 349.35 million naira in 2022. And then in 2021, 59.91 million naira. Now that's a massive, huge one. 483.17%. For Fitsin, they had 2.70 billion naira in 2022 Q2, and then in 2021 Q2, 1.19 billion naira. The percentage change there, 127.16. Now to Nimet International Pharmaceuticals, minus 208.93 million naira in 2022, and then in 2021, 28.31 million naira. The difference there, minus 838.02%. For Pharma Deco, minus 48.99 million naira in 2022, and then in 2021, minus 8.27 million naira. What we have there is also in the negative, 492.45%. Well, where do we go from here, Mr. Ambrose?
Yeah, actually for Nimet, let me start from Nimet. Nimet, actually, we're able to see the third quarter result for Nimet. Until now, they've not released the result. That is another way to know that company corporate governance. This is a company that has September as year end. As I speak now, they've not released their third quarter result. And September is the end of the year. Next month is the end of the financial year. As we speak now, we're still seeing a negative half year, but not seeing the third quarter result. And what kind of assurance or indicator that investor will benefit from good performance for that current financial year that will end in September? That is one. Another thing is that the money they are going to raise is not going to start manifesting or reflecting on their performance immediately. They need to invest and also grow that money before we start seeing the number. That means investors have to be very careful. Yes, it's a low price stock, but for me, I want to see their earnings before I can jump in. That's why, even if I know what I'm going to do the money for, the right issue, if I want to take, that means I'm thinking long-term position for the right issue. But rather, for me, I would advise investors that also designing, no, you might have already wait to see the good performance, because if you are tying down more money again in this company, now we're not seeing a positive light for their earnings performance. We're going to wait for a longer period. Instead of your time additional money, look for another position. Like you can see what is happening in the life of Fixing, the life of me and Baker and the GSK. But especially GSK and the Fixing, you can see that in the last 2 quarters, the performance has over tripled. For that, it shows that something is happening there. And there's a rumor or say information that yes, Fixing is already producing for GSK.
GSK, that's true.
You see,
yes.
The same market. Yes. You can also the turnover for Fixing about 20 billion, higher than every other in that industry, from 12 billion. Also, we are seeing that their profit after tax is about 2.something billion, while others are still in millions.
Millions,
you know, it tells you that this company Fixing has come to really overtook GSK as a leader in price, a leader in performance. for me, I see that fixing has come, and this fixing and me and Baker is the one I see that there's potential, because our government about 3 months ago signed a deal with the Cuba government to go into vaccine production, and that will come from these 2 big companies, fixing and me and Baker, because me and Baker already have the facility to produce vaccine, and fixing has become one of the, their product, what's it called, their factory has become what World Organization has given approval for. For me, I believe that these 2 also have capacity to do. For me, as well, for those that are thinking long, seeing the price of me and Baker below 5 naira, seeing the price of GSK, and we know that fixing is the leader on the strength of their profit after tax. Yes, if you are thinking long, fixing is good, me and Baker is good, and GSK is good. But for those in those 2 laggards in the sector, we want to see when they come out from their bad performance, because they are low price that also were attracted. No price move faster, but there's also high risk associated with low stock.
All right, let's have Alhaji's thought.
Well, my thought is that when you are talking of May and Baker or names are leaders, they were never. The leaders were the Beecham, the Stalin, the Glasgow. But all the 3 merged as one. And today, despite their merger, did not take them anywhere. Fixing show that productivity is what matters and the corporate governance.
Yes.
The corporate governance and productivity in the fixing make it a leader, and now it's fixing versus others. All the others turn over, add them together, they are not up to fixing.
Yes.
So it shows that Nigeria can make it, and if Nigerians are serious into pharmaceutical, they can set their own and make it, because fixing is entirely Nigerians, and they have demonstrated the capacity, the ability to produce, and also they show corporate governance. So to me, fixing is ahead of all of them. The others should go and learn from fixing. Thank you.
All right, Alhaji, I'd like you to comment on Pharma Deco. What's happening?
You see, it's just like Nemes. Most of this one, even when the market was doing very well, they were part of the lower players.
Yes.
And they failed to invest in the productivity. Today, what is the price of dollar? How do you invest even in the machineries? To even meet up where the fixing is, I don't see them going even nearby. Fixing have got it right, and they invested in the machineries earlier than any of them, and today fixing is ahead of all of them, and I don't see them, any one of them catching up with fixing, because they have got it right.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Thank
But
you
very
much.
quickly, let's move on to the earnings per share. And then for earnings per share, May and Baker, 23 kobo. GlaxoSmithKline, 29 kobo. Then we have Fitsin, 1 naira 30 kobo. And then for Nemeth, we have minus 11 kobo. For Pharma Deco, 23 kobo. Let's have your thoughts on that.
Farmadeco, is it 23 cover?
Yes, yes.
That's negative to
Negative
3
Negative 23 kobo right now. Negative 23
Look
kobo.
at the earnings per share. Well, of course, it's obvious. It is very clear.
Numbers,
no emotions. But as we say in stockbrokers, what are the facts behind these numbers? So, looking at it now, May and Baker is 23 kobo. Of course, Fitsin, 130 kobo. That's
1
earnings per
naira
share.
30 kobo.
1 naira 30 kobo. So you can see that it has established that leadership in that sector for now. Again, but before that, I will need to commend the management and board of Fitsin, because despite the harsh economic environment, there were issues of FX, there were issues of power, there were issues of operating costs went high, but at the same time, and I'm so happy because it's a fully indigenous company.
Yeah.
It was founded by an indigenous Nigerian, and today is still on the board. I think I'm correct. It's still on the board of that company. That shows that this is a Nigerian brand and can do well in any part of the world. I'll just encourage them to do more and see how they can begin to export some of their products. I know they started doing that, but they can export more of their product so that we can begin to earn foreign earnings from them. Look at their first class production factory. WHO has given it
approval.
They can manufacture vaccine. So you can see that this company, but like I said earlier, Fixing was not among the leaders. Yes.
Well,
I will argue with that. I would say.
No, they overtook GSK was the leader before.
Yes.
They
overtook GSK. So I will give them kudos. Let them continue their job. And I think on time they paid about 50 kobo sometime.
Yeah, last year.
Last year.
Against 25 kobo.
Against 25 kobo. So you can see 100% increase. So now with earnings per share of 130 kobo, I don't know their payout policy. Probably maybe with 130, I'm sure they will pay more than. And this is just second quarter report. I'm sure they will pay
£1. Minimum £1. No, minimum of £1. But just to add to what you just said, there's one good thing that investors should know. What is the business model and the fact behind the figures you just mentioned? Look at companies in Nigeria that has multiple product line. What have helped what's it called?
Fixing.
No, Nestle today is that Nestle has product line that across both the old and the young. And also in fixing, also their product line also in the same process, both the young, both everything is there. And when if A is not selling, B is selling, also penetrating new market with those products, that is a good way to go. You can see what is happening in Unilever today too. That is coming, but look at the life of Cadbury. Cadbury results for me today, I've still that number, I'm still having some question on that, because the company that just have two products to make that kind of return. But for those like fixing the multiple product line, don't forget that before, when GSK was leading this sector, it has a lot of product line. In the process, they start selling their product line out. Before now, they are coming back for another company to manufacture them. Before, we talk about local booths in this country and all those things. It goes to GSK, but they sold that product line out. For me, I think fixing has come to stay, and that's why I said, like Elijah said, this is a kind of Nigeria company that perform excellently. How to give the kudos to the management. But one thing I will encourage them, like you just said, if we are seeing that 130 kobo at the end of the year, that means they're likely to do 2 naira 80 kobo or even 3 naira for the full year. That means dividend of 1 naira or even above should come from such company.
All right, that's interesting. If you can hear me, Aruna, let's have your take on this one. Hello, Mr. Aruna, can you hear me?
He is not in the line.
Oh,
okay. He's not.
Okay. Well, let's move on to profit to earnings ratio. That's PE ratio. We start with May and Baker as usual. 15.35, GSK 20.54, Fitsin 7.63, and of course Nemeth minus 14.36, and Pharmadeco minus 7.75. Mr. Garupa, help us with this.
Still repeat it, same. Fixing is the leader, and there is no doubt over it, because we can see those with the negative returns, they are still trying to catch up. And those that have a high PE ratio, they need to change. For me, if it is pharmaceutical, fixing is number one, fixing for short term, fixing for long term, fixing for medium term. Whichever way.
Fixing for my proprietary box.
All right, let me ask you this question now. Some persons may be wondering, what's the essence of PE ratio? What does it speak to?
The PE ratio tries to tell you the number of time, how long it will take you to recoup your investment. So when you look at fixing, you are talking of less than 8. And less than 8 years, if you invest in fixing with their earning, if they will pay all their earning as dividend, you will recoup your investment in 8 years. If you take the May and Baker, you are talking of 15 years. If you take Glasgow Smith, you are talking of 20 years. Then those who are negative, they are even out of context.
Yes,
exactly. Because we don't have negative PE ratio, is mean declared loss. At the end of the day, you will lose your capital.
All right.
Just like Elijah said, when it comes to PE ratio, this is for you. If they improve, it will comfortably reduce your waiting period. That is the simplest way to evaluate a company's valuation. You want to do valuation, the shortest way, like you just said, tells you how long it's going to be. The more they improve, the shorter your waiting period. That is the good thing in PE ratio. That means for fixing now that we have seen this, less than 8. If at full year we are seeing 4, that means at that point you have less than 4, because this for half year already. For me, investor in fixing should increase their stake.
Okay, interesting. Let's move on to the book value per share. That's BVPS. For May and Baker, 4 naira 20 kobo. For GSK, 7 naira 62 kobo. For Fitsin, 7 naira 89 kobo. And then for Nimeth, 56 kobo. And then for Pharmadeco, 5 naira 81 kobo. I'd like Ambrose to start our conversation on that one.
Yeah, for me, the book value per share, most times I don't use as more of a evaluation. I just use for comparison analysis to look at what the company market value is, and because when you talk about book value, it comes out of liquidation. If the company is going down, and after they have taken care of all the credits, all the liabilities, that is left for the reinvestor. And most companies in Nigeria, many of them are liquidating. That means just to guide you to know if this company is overpriced or underpriced, looking at the market value and looking at the book value is more to guide you to know exactly what to do. But for me, if you look at the book value for these companies, I likely not say most of them, if you look at it, you can see that the price they are selling is above their book value, even though if you look at what the price of apart from me and Baker, I said around the 3 naira 80 kobo, book value is 4 naira 20 kobo. You can see fixing around the around 12 naira 10 naira, book value is around 7 naira. That's why I say it's not really for more for evaluation, just to give you an insight. But book value is just to guide you. But for me, the companies in this sector, they are positive sentiment for that. For those that have different investment objective, as I like to say, if you are looking the way of fixing, you know why you are looking for fixing for capitalization. Also, if you want to look at dividend payment and also the price, those dividend yield has another way of guiding you. You can see that the dividend price for me and Baker at 30 kobo, and the price at that you can see it's almost around 9%. Also, if they improve, you have different things that will guide you, and what you are looking in a particular company will guide you what to do. But in terms of performance, we'll give it to what? To fixing. But all the other ones that are in that sector, like GSK and me and Baker, they have prospect for to also move further. That's why it is your objective will guide you what to do. I know some investors that they go for leaders. They don't go for that. That is what they do. I want to be in there. That when leaders price pull back, they increase their stake because they are their leader. But like in case of GSK before now, people that are in that stock have already sold that to go to where they say, because you want to identify with the leader because they have the muscle to adjust to come up accumulate risk and at the same time expand their business to give you more return.
All right, let's move on to the profits margin. For me and Baker, 5.94%. For GSK, 2.36%. For Fitsin, 13.27%. For Nimeth, minus 21.21%. For Pharmadeco, minus 19.38%. Let's have the trader talk about this one.
Yes, I mean, the figures, like my colleague has said, there's no emotion.
Yes.
You can see Fitsin there doing 13.27%, okay? As a profit margin.
A manufacturing company for that.
For me, so you can see that efficient, they are producing efficiently. That is, they are making use of their input efficiently to get the output. So we'll just encourage them to continue. But I just want to say something, we have seen these figures. These are fundamentals. But if you still want to take your decision, you need to look at other decision-making tools.
Technical tools?
Keep technical analysis. And we have Ambrose. We have Ambrose. No, because even in management, you know that before you take decisions, there are several tools. And you are advised to combine 2-3 of these tools for you to get an optimal decision. So we have looked at all these numbers, fundamental, they are numbers. They are okay, but you need to also do some little homework, combine it with technical analysis, then come up with your final decision. All
right, that's okay. Finally, let's go to the return on earnings. This particular one is very important, and I would like Ambrose and Mr. Garuba to talk about this one. For me and Baker, 5.55. For GSK, 3.86. For Fitsin, 16.43. For Nimeth, minus 19.49. And for Pharmadeco, minus 3.89. Let's start with you, Ambrose.
Yeah, when it comes to return on return on earnings, it gives you also insight what you expected at the end of the day. That is it, kind of if you put a inflation figure and the earnings yield or returns, is it up to? You can see that yes, it's below inflation, but this is just half year result, and at the same time, likely before the end of the year, where the company will be in terms of return on investment for shareholders. For me, investors should not panic. Like my colleague just said, all these fundamentals is what we use to call select your watch list in terms of if you're a trader or investor. After having this watch list with this earnings, you now use your technical analysis to know the right price to buy, right price to sell. As I tell you that good fundamental is good, but fundamental is always talking about past performance. It's always a historical figure we're looking at. But for you to know what is happening in the market, what is the sentiment is technical, to know what is the behavior behind these companies, as everyday trade. That's why I tell you that the easiest way to value companies at the end of the day, what the demand and supply settle, that price is what they value that stuff for. The next day, another value come. But fundamental to give you historical perspective and what is coming in terms of fundamental. But at any time, you must have to combine the two to take informed investment decision.
All right, Mr. Garba, let's have your thought on this.
Well, before I talk on this, I want to take us back to the book value.
Okay.
If you look at the book value of Pharmadeco, it's likely this company is going to be take off. Because with this book value, I can tell you what happened to Mayor can happen to Pharmadeco. You remember Mayor was trading less than 1 naira, and they went and paid more than 2 naira as a dividend because some people scrap their asset and take the money. And this is what is likely going to happen to Pharmadeco if they did not change. Because with this book value, many investors, if they can get the substantial part of it, they can go there and scrap the company. I wish Fixing can acquire this company and turn out the asset into a more proficiency. Because today, most of this book value is due to their location and the land they acquire. And even the machinery, you will find that most of this machinery, they just need refurbishing to move on. Because they are not doing anything, you see from their turnover. So, to me, it all exposed that likely going to take over. Because look at what happened to Nemis. With a book value of less than 1 naira, now they are making 5 times of that investment to turn it around. So, what will happen to Pharmadeco? If there is serious investment and if the shares are available, I will say acquire them and turn it around. And before you know it, the sky will be the limit. Coming to the price earning, most of these return on the investment, as we have noticed, that is still fixing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Well, guys, like this video. No, numbers don't lie. We're seeing the number. I think numbers don't lie. I'm inside of my organ.
Right.
Well, in those days, we used to even go for factory visits. So maybe we'll be telling fixing management that we are coming for factory visits.
And they will gladly, welcome you because once you go there, you have more facts to talk about.
Exactly,
Because
that's
knowing the business model and what is behind it, you can, when you see, you can give access to what you are seeing and see how they.
I'll pay them a visit. Somewhere in Kurudu Road. I'll pay them a visit.
No, that is their
Head office.
Yes.
I know they're somewhere in there.
Exactly.
All right, I think it's high time we wrapped up. Let's have your final thoughts.
Yes, investors, please have your trading plan and trade that plan.
All right, and let's have yours.
Yes, I would say that
In less than 10 seconds.
The adjustment in rate for those critical sectors send a signal for investors. We have seen the impact of cost of finance on companies' operation for half year. If there is cost for third quarter, we should expect something better if they reduce the cost.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Garba, for joining us, the MDAPT Securities. Many thanks for joining us. Thank you, too, for joining us, Mr. Charles Parkroha, stockbroker and business analyst. And many thanks to you, too, for joining us. I'm Bruce Amodium.
Thank you.
CRO Visitor Consulting. Well, it's a wrap on the show. Many thanks to you for joining us. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter.